Hi guys, it's me Chrissy and I'm here with books 45 to 50 of my 2017 wrap-up, and 3 of these I've already talked about in my booktubeathon wrap-up, but I'm just gonna put them here just to keep the number of books straight so I don't get confused later on. So the first book I read was the restored edition of Ariel, a foreword by Frida Hughes by Sylvia Plath. This is a collection of her poems, the last set of poems before she committed suicide, and these are they're sort of untouched. Like everything that was meant to be in that book ended up being here, and yeah, that's it. It's shiny because I put a plastic on them already so that they don't get dusty. And then I read Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. These are basically life tips by Marcus Aurelius. It's pretty good. He has some pretty good stuff in here. I recommend going slower with it though, instead of the fast pace I read it for booktubeathon. And then the third book I finally finished reading is The Girls by Emma Cline. This is a sort of fictionalized retelling of the Manson murders, the Manson family murders, or it was inspired by it anyway. And all I can say is that it's a very almost kind of hyper feminine sort of book taking place during the late 1960s, early 70s, when everyone was about free love and then drugs were all over the place. But also I really caught on to the fact how the narrative, the story would notice power exchanges between a man and a woman, or between a woman and a woman, during conversation, she would notice that their little ways of interacting, she would give power to this person during the conversation, or she would be the one to take the power. But in any case, it was actually pretty interesting, and if this actually made me watch the documentary about the Manson family, so that was, yeah, it was interesting, and I actually really liked it. And just, yeah, that's it. It was something completely different, and it sort of made me end up going into sort of being more interested in books about or during the time of the 60s. So I think that's pretty cool. And then the fourth book I read, this actually took me the longest time to read. If you watch my Books and Coffee video, you can really see how I keep shooting this book because it took me a while. I'm not sure if it's because it's a third book. It's The Magician's Land by Lev Grossman. I'm not sure if it took me long because it's the third book in the series and I just didn't want to let the world go, or because I was actually really stressed out and I couldn't concentrate on reading, so I had a hard time struggling through this, which was strange because when I was reading it, I'm like, yeah, this is great, keeps reading, and I put it down and I just forget it for a couple days. I'm like, what is wrong with me? So in any case, this was a good wrap-up to the trilogy. I liked how there were things that were brought up in the first and second books, and then they had a nice wrap-up here in the third book, and if there's anything that wasn't spoken about, it was done on purpose. I think I heard someone say that. And then there's also the just everything about this, and then I can really see extreme character growth in every single person in this series. At first, nobody's a really good person. I would say maybe you can find some aspects that are relatable but not likable, but no one is a good person. And they're still not really good people by the end, but they are matured and you can really see the growth in them, and I really think that was very, very good. Yeah, that's it. And for the last book, I picked up Four Letter Word. It's a it's sort of love letters, short love letters by 41 authors. It's edited by Joshua Nelman and Rosalind Porter. I read about 14 of the 41. Everything else I just got I didn't feel like reading it, but I'm counting this anyway because I did read at least half of the stuff in here, and only the people that I really wanted to read. My favorite one here was by Ursula K. Le Guin. It's a love letter from Lavinia to her husband. And I wasn't expecting that because I really enjoyed Le Guin's Lavinia, and I wasn't expecting for the main character to write like a love letter to her husband while he was away, and then I just was so surprised to find that in here, and then it just brought me back to the time when I read the book and I loved the book, and it's just like, you know, when the author like makes in, I wouldn't call it fan fiction because they're not fans, they're literally the authors of their own world, but it kind of feels like fan fiction, but like canonized fan fiction, you know? So that's it. This was actually based off of the idea of that virus made by a Filipino, and it went global, that the I love you virus, and people would think, because like the header of the email would be like, I have something to tell you, and then people click it and then it's a virus. So that's what spurred the idea of this book. So yeah, that's it. Those are all the books I read. If you want to know more about my thoughts on Ariel and meditations, you can watch my booktubeathon wrap up. But that's it for now. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for sticking around, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!